welcome to the Women Conquer Business Show. I'm Jen McFarland, joined by Shelly Carney. We're your go-to small business marketing show, covering breaking marketing news that affects you, cool apps we found, and a how-to deep dive into a marketing topic with a side of motivation and inspiration. We'll also talk a little about our own entrepreneurial journeys as well. Are you ready? Let's get started. Well, hello, Shelly. How are you doing? Welcome.
I'm doing good.
You're doing good? Sorry, I'm just asking questions and all kinds of things. Welcome to Women Conquer Business, everybody. About 20 minutes ago, I had not combed my hair, so welcome.
We're running a little late.
We're running a little behind over here.
That's okay.
Today, we're going to talk about how to write persuasive copy without feeling icky. Writing persuasive copy is one of the most important skills you can have in business. It allows you to influence people, guide them, and get them to take action. However, it can be difficult to master, especially when you get all the feels. I get all the feels sometimes. When you get all the feels and want to run and take a hot shower after you write something, which is kind of icky, right? So this week we're going to talk about all the best ways to write persuasive copy without feeling icky. We'll help you write some better, more persuasive copy to create some powerful newsletters, maybe for your email marketing, maybe some social media posts that are more engaging. This is not about sales necessarily, because I have a pretty bright line between sales and marketing, but this is one of the areas where it kind of blurs is, when you're marketing things, you're persuading people to join something, attend an event, or move into a different way. I mean, it's interesting because in large companies, sales and marketing are separate. As small businesses, they tend to get blurred a lot. And I think it is important to, I've been attending a session with Nikki Roush. She's the sales maven. She talks strictly about sales, and I've been taking her master class. And there are some times where she blurs into marketing, but we're both very much we don't do the other person's stuff. We're not experts in those fields. So just so you know, when I talk about myself getting the feels, I'm really good at writing copy for other people. I can write persuasive copy for other people. I myself sometimes struggle with writing it about myself. And that's why a lot of times I'll hire somebody to help me write persuasive copy in some cases. I think, Shelly, you write your own stuff, right? Is that?
Yeah, I do. And you get better over time, because I've been doing it for years. And, now when I do a show, I just automatically start inserting, oh, and by the way, I do this, and call me here and do that. And I throw in some CTAs. I throw in, what I do. I make sure everybody is aware of what my offers are. So, the more you do it, the more integrated it becomes into everything you do.
Sure. And I'm a natural teacher. So that's kind of where I start from. And then there's not a lot of calls to action in education necessarily. But speaking of a call to action, if you haven't subscribed to the Women Conquer Business Show, either on YouTube or on your favorite podcasting platform, please do that. It helps us reach out to you more often and get to know you. So please do that. What else is going on, Shelly? Sounds like you've been exercising, maybe getting
I always tend to do this around November, but I'm a little late this year. It's December, and I weighed myself, and I'm like, okay, it's time to cut out the sugars and start getting serious about eating healthy and getting back to exercise. I kind of gave up exercise last year when I was having all those health issues, and now that they are behind me, it's time to dive back into what?
Is Toby standing there? Is that what's happening? It's time to dive back into exercise.
I don't know. He's showing me a card. Do this. Do this.
It's kind of funny.
Sorry. So I got back into exercise this week too, because healthy diet and exercise leads to weight loss and being fit. So I maybe overdid it, because the lightest weights that I have are 10 pounds. And I just did 10 pounds on some exercises that I haven't done in over a year. And it was a little much. And now my arm is like, I hate you. And why made me? So luckily on Friday, I'm going to do my float and lay there in some Epsom salts for an hour. Hopefully, that's going to help take some of the soreness away.
Look, Jeep Girl Jody's here.
Hey, Jody.
Hey,
Thanks for joining. We
thanks for
appreciate
joining
you.
us. And so, I'm going to be with everybody else. I've been going to the gym, but I'm going to be there when it's super crowded after New Year. I'm not going to worry about it at this point. It's just too close to the Christmas holidays.
Well, my
Worry
husband
about
asked me,
sugar.
"What do you
I
want for
mean,
Christmas?" And I said, "I want to lose weight." And he's like, "Well, I can't do anything about that." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's on me. I guess I can give myself the Christmas present of losing weight." So that's why I decided to do it.
so what I've been up to is Liz and I got together again this weekend. We recorded 3 episodes. It turned out to be a 3-parter. 3 episodes of female crime fighters. I think last week
Oh,
I mentioned that we were going to work on a podcast side project for fun, and nothing has been released. We're still collecting names and ideas, and then we did record 3 episodes about the closer and major crimes, which I am addicted to with my mom, and then my friend Jeannie. I mean, there's just, a lot of my buds are listening to it and watching it. So, but now we've got a whole list of, I think the next episode we're going to record is Anita Van Buren, who is a personal favorite. She's the lieutenant from the original Law and Order. And then we have some other people, DCI Tennyson, and we've got a huge list. Everybody I talk to gives me another name, so we
yeah, I
keep
give you
adding
two.
it because you gave me Wednesday and She-Hulk, and then
Yeah.
we've just got so many things going on. So that's been super fun. It was awesome. Liz came over with her mom and their 10-year-old beagle, and
Oh,
so we
very
had a little
nice.
doggy play date, and then Liz and I just kept talking and talking, because what we're doing is we're cutting off episodes at like a half hour. So that's
Mhm.
why it's 3, because we just kind of kept talking about this topic. So it's interesting. It's a super fun thing. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, podcasting is fun, especially when it's just friends having a chat and you record it.
Yeah, and that's totally what it is. Liz and I
That's
hadn't seen
right.
each other forever, and we were just like, we should do this. So
Yeah.
more on that later. If it ever comes out, we'll share it. So it will, but it's like we want to get like some things in the can before we just
Yeah.
start doing it. So are you
Yeah.
ready for some marketing breaking news?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so I saw somebody commented on this last night and said, "Ha ha ha, Marco Rubio wants to ban TikTok," and I was kind of like, "Wow, that's not going to happen." But it is bipartisan legislation that would ban TikTok in the US. The thing that I found more interesting, though, however, is that TikTok has already been banned by about 9 states already, which I hadn't realized because
I'm not sure. How do they do that though? How do they ban it in a state?
I don't know. I don't know if they're blocking it, like using IP addresses or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but it's, oh, they banned it on state devices. So they're starting to ban it
Oh,
so like government people can't use it. That's what it
I
is.
see.
But, a lot of people have work phones and things like that. Like,
Mhm.
so it's kind of getting some traction. Now, we've talked about TikTok off and on for a long time. And while all of this China banning it thing, it's very fascinating to me because it's not like the app is owned by the Chinese government. They have US investors. So it's complicated. It's a geopolitical thing that's happening. But it is something to watch. So, and this is kind of the kissing cousin to what's going on with Twitter. We know Facebook is in decline. An interesting thing about TikTok, though, is that they've plateaued, like in their number of people downloading the app. So there's just a lot going on with social media right now. But we know that Twitter has its problems. We know that Facebook is in decline if your, customers are under 50, or some of them are under 40 even. So it just tells you again and again, don't put all of your eggs in the social media basket. Like, you have to have marketing that's diverse, and you have to use, if you're using social media, yes, pick 1 or 2 platforms, but don't do only social media marketing. You have to have an email newsletter. You have to have some other ways that you're, networking, or how you're meeting people. You have to do a vast number of things. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be tons, you have to diversify how you're marketing your business in order to safeguard yourself against something like this, which, honestly, this was we've been covering this for a while, but like this was a little unexpected that all of a sudden there's legislation from, a senator about this that may or may not pass. So again, and this is something I talk about in all my marketing classes, just don't put all your eggs in, one one basket, because you just never know what can happen. And also have spaces that you own yourself. So this reinforces the, having a website, not just social media. So getting off my soapbox there about that.
Well, what stands out to me is every year there's some social media site that is like, oh, we only, and maybe it's, it's not just all of a sudden, and TikTok's been around for a while, but it seems like everybody last year was, I got to get on TikTok because that's the thing. And then they commercialize it so much. And then it just tapers off. People get bored with it. It's like, oh, it used to be fun. And now it's just a bunch of commercials, just like Instagram has become like that, and
Sure.
that's kind of
Yeah.
fading. And Facebook is really fading because of their trickery that they used with marketers saying, build your business page and then boost it and give us money to send it out to people. And then, oh, now they like your page. So they're going to see more things. Oh, wait a minute. We want to charge you now for showing that
Right.
to people. And this constant trickery that they try to do on the marketers and the people who are trying to build their small business online through social media as an awareness factor in the top of the funnel, and then bring them in. And then actually Facebook at one time, it was an entire funnel. And
Yeah.
then they just said, oh, they're going to charge you and nickel and dime you to death. And so people are like, well, let's find something else. And so they're starting to go
They're
other
starting
places.
to go other places.
And now with TikTok, a lot of people are, to me and you, we tried it. We were bored. We're like, enough of is enough. Let's put it away, and they haven't gone back to it. Now, Toby, he's been on it for over a year, a year and a half, 2 years, just loving it. And I'm just like, and he had it last
Yeah,
night.
I
He was
mean,
going through it, and I'm like,
it's addictive, but
I don't see it. It's not for me. It's a waste of
yeah,
time.
I mean, I just have to get off of there. And I was on a platform where I was making videos all the time like that, and I just got kind of burned out on it because it was kind of hard to do. I could probably do TikTok and love it, but I'm on so many places at this point. I'm just kind of, um, all of this, it's so funny because, you're talking about this and you're talking about the ads and everything. One of the reasons I knew Clubhouse was never going to take off is because there was just no way for them to make money. They didn't have
Yeah.
ads. They didn't have anything. So you have to have ads. They have to charge things. And this is why I say you have to diversify, because they can change the playing field at any point. So you do have to make sure how you engage, that you're engaging in places, but then you also have spaces that you own, because they can just change it overnight. And that's really what we've seen in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So
now the good news is, if TikTok goes away, something else will immediately take its place that'll be
sure.
just like it. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried. And I didn't invest all my time and effort into TikTok to begin with, because it was the flash in the pan thing that the the millennials and the Gen Z were loving on. And I'm like, that's not my age group. That's not my target demographic.
It might not go away. Like, here's the thing. Like, this might just push them to sell or put all their servers somewhere else. I mean, I don't think TikTok is going away. I'm going to say, I'll say this, and then when I'm wrong, we can replay the video like 100 times and share it or something. I just don't think that that's going to happen.
Now,
So,
obviously, Jen's advice is the best advice, is do get your people on your email list. Number one effort. Yes.
Yeah, and Toby's totally right. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Eventually, that affects the user's perception of the platform. That's totally correct. And, that's the case of anything that's free.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if you're paying for it,
yeah,
there's different things. So Toby's 100% right. And just bear that in mind with anything you're using that you're not paying for or that you don't own. And that's the case. So.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for some
training? Let's Power up.
So this topic was my idea, and then this morning I texted Shelly and I said, I don't even know what we're gonna say. And it was because I got hung up on the without feeling icky part.
Mhm.
Certainly, there's a lot of ways that you can be persuasive and influence. You know, we're really talking about is influence. And I will say that when I'm in my zone of genius, I think I am persuasive and influence people because I do a lot of research. I really think things through. You know, a little later on the show, we're gonna do tweak of the week. I can be persuasive about these things because I've used the tools, I really like them, and then I share them. And I think that that's the case with a lot of things. I think that we have areas where we can be very persuasive, and we know and part of the reason for that is we know that it's a win-win. We're going into it, we know that it's a win-win, and I think that where we kinda get the feel sometimes around sales copy and things like that is we get a little nervous because we start doing the, "Well, what if? What if? What if? What if? What if? What if?" And I think that when we look at our products and the things that we're marketing, sometimes we have to realize what if you have to ask yourself is, "What if I don't help more people? What are they losing out on if they don't attend my event? What are they missing out on? How is it a win for them?" And I think that sometimes you have to look at things from that perspective because your intention is that you wanna help the right people with the right things at the right time.
Yeah. I think part of my issue is when I'm writing, I'm using superlatives and hyperbole, and this is the best ever, and top 10 tips, and, just giving it that, this is incredible, amazing, blah, blah, blah. And you have to say, but is it really?
Well,
Or is it
yeah,
just good? But just good isn't going to attract people's attention. They're not going to click on it. They're not going to get excited about it. They're not going to start dreaming of their outcomes and how amazing life is, which is part of the persuasive process, is to get them involved in it by using that powerful language. And like when you use the headline analyzer, it's going to tell you use more powerful, more feeling words, get
yeah.
people excited so they'll click. So that can
Absolutely,
be
and
tough
so
sometimes.
and this is an example, right? Like, so I think that we had, I'm clicking on the wrong window. I think that when we started writing, we had boost your business with product bundles. I think that's what it is on YouTube. And
Yeah.
then I worked through it until it's like product bundle campaigns, how to grow your list the remarkably easy way. And it scores an 87% on there. But then it's like, well, is that the easiest way? I mean, you can really second
Mm,
guess yourself, and I think that really what we're talking about is when you go to write persuasive copy, it's really about, do you have social proof? Do you have testimonials about what you're doing? Add that, that you're building up that know, like, and trust factor with people. They're learning about you, they're talking, they're hearing what it is that you have to say on an ongoing basis. I think persuasive copy becomes much easier when you are engaging with your customers on an ongoing basis, because
mhm.
then it's just like you're just delivering it to them. Like, you know, here here's the offer, and you don't have to feel icky about it. But that said, there are a lot of frameworks that you can be using to really help you talk through things, and it will help you understand how to bring people in. One of the tools that I like for that is TypeShare. And oh, what do you have? What does Chief Girl Jody say? I always start with, I wanted to reach out to you. I found people love when you say it in your email message. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally, totally, and there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. One of the things that I like to do is I like to use frameworks. I like to look at how is it that I can engage people? What are things that I like? What is it that is persuasive to me? And then I try to emulate it. This is one of the ways that you can start teaching yourself copy, how to write sales copy. Like I said, I am fantastic at writing sales copy for other people. That's why sometimes I hire somebody to do it for me because it's it's helpful when you can when you can explain what it is that you do and then have somebody else write some of the copy for you. Um, because it keeps me out of it where I'm like, well, but is it always, kind of to your point that you made earlier, like, is it always the best? Like you can second guess yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the ways that you can get around that, like for example, I have a framework for my newsletter when I write a newsletter. And I use TypeShare sometimes, and then I worked with, I think I've mentioned her before, Elizabeth Case, and we wrote out like a framework. Like this is how your newsletter is going to be. Like you're going to start off with something funny because if you've heard me talk for a while, I like dad jokes. I like to share something funny. Then it's like talking about something that's going on in marketing or sharing something of value, and then it usually ends with something, an offer or upcoming events or something like that. And that's typically like the framework. When we have podcast episodes, the podcast episode gets slotted in. That's kind of how you start to make your writing quicker and easier. And then when you're using a framework, then writing something about what's coming up and being persuasive about that, it almost becomes something that you're not thinking about because it's just part of this framework or this pattern that you've used. And sometimes that can be an easier way. That's something that has worked for me. It's worked for some of my clients as well, where it's like, let's just set you up with something that you can plug and play and get things in there. And I think that you do that too, don't you, Shelley?
Yeah, you don't, when you talk about sales copy, being persuasive, it isn't just your sales page. It isn't just your website. It's everything you do, and scripts for, your videos, formats for your podcast, as you said. It's everything is structured in a way that it is persuading people to know, like, trust, take an action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the reason why people think, like, again, I think the reason why some people think I'm so persuasive is passion. Like, and that's one of the ways that you can really convey what matters about what matters to you, and hopefully what matters to you is also something that you're engaged with in your business. And that's one of the ways that you can really talk about and build that know, like, and trust factor on social media. You build that credibility because you have like spent so much time talking about it. You know, on social media, when you start talking about things like just straight up marketing, like when you're engaging or when you're writing your emails or when you're writing your social media posts, it's like, how can I position myself as an expert while at the same time engaging other people to take some sort of action? Like, what is it, and so it's not even always sales copy. It's sometimes just like, how do I get people to listen to the podcast? That's free. Like, to get to
Mm.
know me, or
Yeah.
how do I get people to think about something in a different way? Because that raises people's awareness. How can I get them to engage with me and think about it? It's also it's all of these things. So when we think about being persuasive, it's really also about like, how do I change the perspective? How do I create a shift? Like, did we create a shift among the people watching today when we talked about how fleeting social media can be?
Mm.
Did we create that shift? Have we been persuasive enough that people who are maybe putting all of their eggs in the social media basket are now thinking, wow, maybe I do need a website, or maybe I need to update my website so it has the most up to date information,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and
Yeah.
that sometimes is the first step in a process that ultimately somebody's like, oh, yeah, I really want to do a live stream. I should talk to Shelly. Oh, I really need to look at my marketing and see if I really am thinking too much about social media. Like, maybe I should talk to Jen, and so that's how these things happen. Sometimes you need to see examples to kind of help you understand and frame how being persuaded looks. We all read copy on a sales page and we're like, "Oh, maybe I should buy it." We also know what turns us off from that.
Yeah.
And and I think it's that being turned off by certain things that can sometimes really hang us up. I know it hangs me up. I'm like, I don't want to be an icky bro marketer. So
Mm,
like I get hung
yeah.
up on some things.
hmm Yeah. If people are trying to push, 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 and then it's like, no, you just push me away. That's enough. I've heard enough. You've given me a lot to think about.
We also have to have multiple touch points. Like you have to
Yeah.
have, and that's where it really comes into like, what's that customer journey? A lot of people haven't thought about that. And that's one of the ways that push, push, push is too hard. It's like, if you haven't thought about all of the stops along the train from where somebody meets you for the first time to where they engage with you as a client, and you haven't thought of all the different ways that you could talk to them and meet with them, and you're just hitting on sales and sales and sales, well, you're not really providing value. All you're doing is just saying, buy from me, buy from me. Marketing is a conversation. I've said that so many times. You're building a relationship with somebody through marketing, and it should feel and look very natural, but you do have to engage in some sort of persuasion at some point.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're just making good buds. You're hanging
Yeah.
out in the friend lane. So
Yeah.
it's really, but it does mean that you have to think about who your customers your customers journey, because it can take a lot of touch points. But then you also have to realize that at some point they have to come over, they have to leave the friend lane.
Yeah.
You have to
Well,
make an offer at some
some
point.
people have a lot of clarity on what their problem is and that they are ready to solve it and they're just looking for the right solution. And then other
Yeah.
people don't have that clarity. So they take longer because they have to listen for a while and then begin to understand that no, TikTok's not your answer. Your answer is getting an email list going. You know, they have to gain
Yeah.
clarity, and that takes time, that takes those touch points, that takes them becoming a part of your world and seeing that these are the right answers for them.
Yeah, and I don't have it up, but we've talked about this in another context on earlier shows when we talked about skyscraper posts. Whenever we've brought up the content funnel, a lot of times people just think about a sales funnel, but people who are looking for different types of information, they are coming at different points in the funnel. That's why it takes time to persuade somebody when we're talking about copy. Like when you write a how-to post, they're coming in at the informational level. That's different than somebody who's looking at your testimonials that's making a buying decision. That's
Mhm.
that's down in the conversion part of your content funnel. That's why it's important to have all these different pieces in there where you're getting people from that more generic how-to level down into, like I said, like a buying decision. So we'll put some links to those shows in the show notes, because I have a slide that like clearly talks about the content funnel. That's the mistake a lot of people make when they go to make social media copy or email newsletter copy, is they're not honoring the fact that everybody's in a different place on the funnel when they're
So,
engaging with your copy.
mhm. Well, I want to get into this just a little bit about the icky feelings and the salesy, and I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be slimy. I don't want to be that. Well, sales is service. When we look at sales as service, that I am providing a solution to your problem. I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I'm not saying you have a problem that you don't. I want both of us to be in a winning situation and to come out at the end feeling good about our relationship. So when you go into it like that, with I want to win and I want you to win too, I want us both to do business together in a very ethical manner. Um, and when you come at it with that intent, then you're much less likely to feel like, well, I'm just making stuff up and saying how great I am when I'm not really. You have to move into the focus on the customer instead of focusing on yourself. When you focus on the customer and how can I help them get to where they want to be, then you can see that sales is service.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That was awesome. Words of wisdom. Boom. We know it.
Ta-ding.
Ta-ding. Because you cannot touch any buttons after what happened last week with the robot voice
No,
system.
no
So,
buttons.
but no, I mean that's totally it. When you stop centering yourself before you write your copy, and you're really thinking about your customers, that's it right there. Look, we've all been slimed, and
Yeah.
it's so funny that I still get all the feels because I mean, I'm a marketer, that immediately turns off, like, I don't even know, like, 75% of people. So, like, then I have my own, like, uphill battle to go through. They've done polls on, you know, it's like used car salesman marketer, like, in terms of who makes them feel icky.
Mm.
So, which is hilarious to me because I don't wanna feel icky. So, it's kinda weird, people already think that. But I think that you really hit it when you said, think about your customer first. Think about what it is that passion you have for helping them, how you've helped people in the past. What can you share with them that is, whether it's not social proof or little bits, it's like a breadcrumb. You're just leaving people a trail that they can ultimately come to engage with you. That's how you take off the ick. You focus on service, just like you said. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's it.
Yeah. I would like to go over the principles of persuasion according to the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, just very quickly so that people know a little bit, specifics
Mhm.
about what they're writing and why they're doing it. The first one is reciprocation, and that's what we're doing right now. We're offering you value. We're giving you hints and clues on how to improve your marketing and how to uh, make your business safer by taking your customers off social media and putting them into your email list. We're giving you that value so that you feel like I would like to pay them back in some way. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to share their content. I'm
Yeah.
going to reach out and get some of those freebies that they've been offering me for the past 10 weeks. I am going to take some kind of action to repay the value that they gave me.
Mhm.
The second one is commitment and consistency. Commitment is helping them to come to a decision. And once they make that decision, then they're going to want to justify it. Now, a lot of times decisions are made emotionally. I want to feel good about myself, so I'm going to do this thing. And then I do this thing. And then people ask me, why did you do that thing? And now I have to justify it. So I have to say, well, it made good business sense, and here's why. And then consistency is the small commitments, right? Start off with please show up to our live stream and we would love to see you in the chat room. And then they do that, and then
Yeah.
they please go ahead and download this this freebie, and they do that. And the next step is how about this low priced entry point offer. When you like that, it's yes, 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 until they get to your core offer. That's the consistency. You keep asking and they keep saying yes in
Yeah.
small ways. Social proof, testimonials. This is really good. Jen is awesome. I've worked with her on several different projects. She's always giving more value than she receives. You can't outgive Jen. There's my testimonial, and it's all true. It is all true. Let me tell you, that is all true. So when I say that about Jen, then you might hear it and say, oh, well, Jen, it must be awesome then if Shelley says so. Especially if you think highly of me, you feel like,
Sure.
I'm a consistent person. I always tell the truth to you. I give it to you straight, so you're like, Jen must be good.
Yeah.
So those testimonials really can pay off.
Can
And then,
can we pause there for just a second?
yeah,
The thing about testimonials is if you have like a praise page on your website, everybody knows that all the good stuff is going to be there. Put a testimonial on every page on your website. Use those testimonials they can go in your newsletter, they can go in social media. Think of those as ways that you can highlight somebody that you've worked with. And it's good. Like you can use these things to build credibility with people without it being all about yourself. And it really can help you. You can also ask for testimonials in your newsletter. You can also ask for testimonials in all these different places. Do it. Get that social proof, because people trust testimonials as much as a recommendation from a friend. They're
Yeah.
very, very persuasive.
Yeah. And if you look at some Amazon testimonials, reviews and that sort of thing, you'll see that there's a mix. Some love it, some not so much. And some will say, well, I had this problem, but then their customer service came in and fixed everything. And you feel really good about that. So seeing that mix of reviews can help as well, to know that they're authentic and they're real,
Absolutely.
Yeah. The next one is know, like, trust. That's the touch points, right?
We talked about that.
You have to find us, then you get to know us, then you begin to trust us, and then you're going to buy from us. The next one is authority. Important people agree. Every time we bring in research or articles that cement and underscore everything that we talk about, we can point to that authority and say, see, we're not leading you astray. We were right. This is good information we're giving you. So pointing to that authority figure that agrees with you can raise you up in other people's estimation. Then scarcity and FOMO. Got act now, because this price won't last forever. When I did my 1 week Black Friday special, it was like, oh, this is coming up in the last day, and it's over now. And so people are like, oh, I got to get it. And so many people buy on the last day because of fear of missing out.
I will dip in here on scarcity and FOMO, and I will say that it works if it's true.
Yeah.
You can't just do the thing where it's like resetting every 24 hours as like a fake FOMO.
Yeah.
It works if it's true. So don't overuse it, and don't use it as a slick tactic. It works if it's 100% like this is really going to end in.
Yeah, I can only handle 5 clients a month. And once I hit 5, I can't handle anymore. So I can't sign you up. So you got to be one of the first 5. That is absolutely true. Because if I'm doing done for you services and I only have so many hours, a month, then that is a scarcity. That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
shortcuts to decision making. That's what all of this is leading to. You're helping people make a decision. You're giving them the information they need to latch onto to say, yes, this is right for me, or no, it's not. And a confused prospect never buys. So make sure you're offering a lot of clarity as to why you offer what you offer, how it can help people, and what their outcomes are going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed today's lesson and you are interested in getting your content going on a consistent basis, I highly encourage you to get Shelly's content framework so that you can schedule consistent content and get it out there week after week. Shelly has been great at helping us get the Women Conquer Business show back and happening again week after week.
For a year.
For almost an entire year. We are so close. So be sure to check that out. The proof is in the pudding. We've been doing it, following the framework. Kinda, haven't we? Did we follow it? Seems like we followed it for a year.
Absolutely, we do.
So
yeah, absolutely. That's what keeps us on track. Even when we're both late showing up, and we're like, we got 10 minutes. Let's get this going. And we started on time, didn't we? Yeah,
we did.
we do it. Our framework works. But also what works, if you want to understand your marketing better, see where you're at, know where you're going and how to get there, go to Jen's free marketing self-assessment. And I'm going to put that in the chat box, and it's also in the scroll. It is sendfox.com/WCB. Take that self-assessment, see where you're at, see what kind of help you need and where you need to improve.
Whoop.
Yeah.
Are we ready for some tweaks of the week?
Tweak it, girl.
Okay. So this week we're going to talk about Hello Audio. This is something that so what I've been working on in the background. I'm not ready to show it yet. Shelly really wanted me to talk about Learn Worlds today. because
looks super cool.
it looks super cool, and I'm building out courses and things and community because I'm building a Women Conquer Business community. And one of the tools that I have added, because I realized that my audio courses were just too hard to get to. And I wanted it easier, not only for me to record and get it on there, but I also wanted it to be easier for people to get to it. And so I'm using a tool called Hello Audio. I learned about this via Member Vault because Member Vault was using it for their private podcast. And I was like, oh my God, this is so easy for me to get their private podcast. How are they doing this? So it really is like I can set up a folder and it can even be like Zoom calls or whatever. You can connect your Zoom to it. You can connect a Dropbox or a Google Drive and just kind of drop it in there and it'll make audio out of it. So it's pretty fancy. It's pretty neat. It is not very expensive. So if you have like audio courses or any sort of audio content that you want to share, why is the billing not showing up? Okay. It is, for one private course, one private feed. So then you could have as many audio lessons on there as you wanted within one feed. It comes out to, I think it's $17 a month is what I'm paying because it's on a monthly, or $14 a month. I think that's like $170 a year if you do that. So monthly. I'm using it. What I have over here, I had to open a separate window because it would do this. So the way it looks is I have, Women Conquer Business audio courses that's separate from the Women Conquer Business show. This is going to be part of the membership. And I have some courses in here. There's a universal link that will show a QR code to people and they can subscribe. And it also, the reason that this is so easy is because it goes into the podcast player that you're already using. And that's what I loved about this. When I tried to do this before, I had to do it. And then people had to download a separate app. And then like, if they're not opening the app, they don't know if there's anything extra, any new episodes or anything like that. This connects to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict if you're on an Android. It also does Spotify. And so I have open here is the Spotify page for Women Conquer Business audio courses. And you'll notice here that there's a little padlock, which is like I can't play it unless I am a member of it. And then you click get access and it'll take you, I don't know where it takes you actually. Oh yeah, I can connect my account and it works that way. For people who are in the membership, like this would be included. I think I have like a payment page or something connected through Hello Audio, but the real intention is to have people who are in the membership, then this is like an extra. So if you like to create audio but you haven't figured out a way to do a private podcast, this is the easiest way that I have found. And I have tried lots of other places and not had maybe the most success. So I will say that I like Hello Audio. It's super easy. And if you're interested in this, definitely give it a shot. And we'll put that in the show flow in the show notes. It's helloaudio.fm.
I'll write that down. helloaudio.fm.
Did you know about that one, Shelly?
I did not.
Or
this is news to me.
It's a new breaking news for Shelly.
Breaking news. And it's both.
It's time.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, there have been courses that I've taken that I wished I could listen to while I was going for a walk because, I don't want to just have to plop myself down in front of the computer and watch a course, and that's all I'm doing. I feel like, couldn't I do this while I'm walking? And then I could listen to it and more than once. And I wouldn't be sitting in front of my computer forever doing nothing else, which I hate to do. And then I don't end up doing the course.
Especially now that you're working out.
Yeah. Don't remind me. Anyway, yes.
Are you ready?
Hello Audio. Let's
Hello
do
Audio.
some inspirational stuff. Now, this is not too far from our training today because I just grabbed a bunch of cool quotes. I love quotes, but these fit in with our training today. Aristotle said, character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. Abraham Lincoln said, if you wish to win a man over to your ideas, first make him your friend. Dean Rusk said, one of the best ways to persuade others is with your ears, by listening to them.
Oh, yeah.
And Blaise Pascal said, people are usually more convinced by reasons they discovered themselves than by those found out by others. So asking questions and listening to the answers and to the language being used is your best marketing tool. And it's going to make you a better coach, consultant, and business person.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
When you said the best way to persuade others is with your ears by listening to them, I will say that this is probably my biggest persuasive tip is related to that. When I write proposals, I don't have a one-size-fits-all proposal for people.
Mm-hmm.
I really make it tailored, and I can't tell you how many contracts I have gotten because everybody I was up against just had some cookie cutter thing, and mine was like, well, when we talked, you mentioned this.
Yeah.
And then the feedback I get is I felt like I was really heard, and that was really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that you are listening and responding is one of the biggest things that you can do.
And it's not just for business, but this is for your relationships as well.
Yeah, that's life.
If you want to improve any relationship, asking good questions, open-ended questions, and allowing the other person to explore their feelings with you in a safe space is the best way to build a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we sign off for the week, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments or software you want us to talk about, you can email us at hello@womenconquerbiz.com, and we'll do our best to get it into the show. We've gotten a lot of really great tips, and we've talked about some things that have come from email. And yeah, I would love to hear what everybody thinks. And thank you so much for watching. And for those of you in your ears, thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining the Women Conquer Business podcast, hosted by Shelley Carney and Jen McFarland. Please subscribe and leave a comment or question regarding your most challenging content creation or business problem. Then share this podcast with family and friends so they can find the support they need to expand their brand and share their message with the world. Check the show notes for links to valuable resources and come back again next week.